Hello, Chris Rose, and hello, everybody out there, and welcome to Game 3 of this 2011 World Series. Well, we are now in Texas after two thrilling games in St. Louis. They were one-run affairs. The Rangers coming back, getting 2 runs in the 9th inning to take game number 2. And what we saw was a lot of good small ball. We saw good pitching, timely hitting, great defense, a huge stolen base by Ian Kinsler that set it all up in the 9th inning. And now Tim McCarver, here we are in a different type atmosphere, a much different ballpark, and we should see very different ball games.
Yeah, there's no question that pitching and defense ruled in St. Louis, but we all would be very surprised if that trend continued down here in Arlington in this hitter's paradise. More runs per game than any other major league park, more home runs per game than any other major league park, but keep in mind right field and right center field. That's where the ball really takes off, easily reachable for the Ranger hitters and the Cardinal hitters with the likes of Holliday, Pujols, Craig, and Freese.
Yeah, and now we're down to the 3-4 starters the next 2 games. Tonight it's Matt Harrison, the left-hander, taking on Kyle Lohse. We're ready to go. Glad you're with us. They're all fired up down here in Arlington, Texas. It's mostly cloudy. Yeah, we may get some rain later, but let's just hope we don't. 81 degrees, and there is Matt Harrison, the man in the middle, heading to work, and he last worked game 4 of the ALCS. That's a while ago on the 12th. And here he is pitching on the 22nd. And the Cardinals will come to the plate. Tonight's opening pitch will be brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Beautiful rendition of the Star Spangled Banner here tonight. First pitch was thrown out by Dirk Nowitzki, and here's the Cardinals lineup brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bunt for Kyle first up. Then Alan Craig. He's been a pinch hit hero so far for the Cardinals. Albert Pujols. Matt Holliday is in left. The DH is Lance Berkman. Tony La Russa gave him his choice. He said, I'll do it. I'm more used to it than Alan Craig. Let him play the outfield. Then it's David Freese, Yadier Molina, John Jay batting 8th. And Ryan Theriot is at second base batting 9th. And here are the numbers. 14-game winner during the regular season. And Tim, this Texas team has been hot. Behind him his last 7 starts. The team's won all 7. And he is personally 5-0 with an ERA under 3.
Yeah, and the Rangers have not lost when he started since August 24th. Finally, a World Series start, his first. He could be wild high early. Joe, you mentioned the 10 days since his last start. That could be a problem. But if men are on base, the double play is certainly an ally. In fact, he induced more double plays from a ratio standpoint than any other pitcher in the majors.
So Harrison is throwing him for real. Dirk Nowitzki, who is an NBA champion and in the middle of a work stoppage, was applauded loudly. They love him. The Dallas Mavericks beat the Heat. And Nowitzki said, I don't have a curveball or a knuckleball or a changeup. I just bring the heat. And that was 67 miles per hour. Dug out low by Michael Young. So off we go. Here is for Kyle, and we're glad you're with us tonight on Fox. Strike 1. For Kyle, 1 for 7. Switch hitting shortstop. Hit the ball hard a couple of times back in St. Louis, and he pops this one up. It will get out of play for strike 2. Home plate umpire is Alfonso Marquez. With Ron Kolpa at first, Ted Barrett at second, Gary Cederstrom at third. Jerry Lane is down the left field line. He's the crew chief. And Greg Gibson, who worked the plate in game 2 in St. Louis, is in right. Harrison would like to start this game in grand style, and he almost did right there. 94 miles per hour. Ball 1, a bit up and in. 2-2. So you're down to the number 3 starters, and it is a flip-flop for Ron Washington. Derek Holland was the game 3 man on the mound and was in front of Harrison in the rotation the first 2 rounds. And he gets the ball tonight, 1 out. And it will bring in Alan Craig, who not only is the first player with 2 pinch hit go-ahead RBIs the same series in World Series history, but against the same pitcher, Tim, and on just about the exact same pitch.
Same location, runners on at first and third both times. David Freese was the runner on at third both times. Just remarkable pinch hitting by Craig. And now here he is in the lineup and in the field.
He actually had the best RBI rate of anybody the Cardinals had during the regular season. Had a broken kneecap he suffered through. And Harrison cranks it up a notch, 96 and strike 1. That is a rocket into left. At the wall, it is out of here, and a home run for Alan Craig. And he is 3 for 3 in this World Series, and he's made them all count. And the Cardinals, Tim, have a young star in this kid.
There is no question about it. On the heels of your remark about the RBI ratio, 40 RBIs in 219 at-bats. Think about that. And does he ever launch this middle of the plate fastball? My goodness. Wearing Curt Flood's old number.
And with 1 out, here's Pujols, who takes the ball. We talked about this the other day. The Cardinals, because of Craig, have a lineup that's very suited for an American League style with a DH. And some teams struggle with that. The Cardinals will not here in Texas.
Yeah, that often happens for National League clubs because their lineup and their roster is not designed for DHs.
The count is 2-1.
Get used to that home run ball, folks, because I think you're going to see a lot of that in these 3 games.
That's left side, and Beltre spins. Got him, 2 out. The Cardinals had gone 248 World Series plate appearances between home runs. Pujols game 1 at Detroit in '06. And that reaction for Alan Craig's shot, and it wasn't cheap, here in game 3.
Mark McGuire in the foreground, forefront of your picture, said that David Freese has a chance, in his opinion, to win a batting title someday. Can't disagree with him.
Here's Matt Holliday with 2 out, nobody on. And the Cardinals now have scored first in 10 consecutive postseason games. So they are getting out in front, and that guy just bet his heart's about to jump out of his chest.
Yeah, I said David Freese. I think Alan Craig and David Freese, from Mark's opinion, could vie for a batting title someday.
Ryan Theriot gets the start tonight at second, and Harrison starts and stops. Ball 2. Alan Craig told you before tonight's game that even as a kid, his stroke as a right-handed batter was up the middle and the other way.
That he actually had to try to pull the ball. You're right.
There's one the other way, and Holliday is on with 2 out.
We're going to show you what Alan Craig did the first 2 ball games off Alexi Ogando. 2 pinch hit appearances, almost in identical spots. One's a little higher in game 2. 2 singles, and tonight, long ball. Looked like a cut fastball from Matt Harrison, and Craig took care of it. Wow.
Harrison's not a guy who gives up a lot of home runs, only 13 all year, which is saying something, calling Rangers ballpark home. Lance Berkman, strike one. He's played a lot in this park because of interleague play with the Astros and Rangers getting together every year. And here he is, a .291 hitter in 36 games with 7 home runs. And the DH tonight. Strike two.
There is talk about realignment and having 15 teams in each league. A lot of talk about the Houston Astros being coaxed into joining the American League. Resistant thus far, but we'll see.
After a high hard one, Berkman 94, and it's still 1-2. The Rangers tonight will be taking on a right-hander, Kyle Lohse, who is winless in his career during the postseason. And this game will not end 1-0.
I don't think so.
Into center, and Hamilton drifts back to grab it. La Russa likes somebody that can provide damage in the #2 spot in his lineup. Alan Craig, damage. 1-0 Cardinals. Game 3 after a half. Now the starting lineup for the Rangers, brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Little different look tonight. Ian Kinsler, Elvis Andrus, that combination got it done in game 2. Then Hamilton, Michael Young, Beltre, Nelson Cruz. But Napoli's playing first. David Murphy back in left. And your Vitor Alba does the catching, and he bats 9th. Here's Kyle Lohse.
14-8 on the season. As AJ and Eric Karros were talking about in the pregame, he is not a hard thrower. He throws a 2-seam fastball, good curveball, and a change.
Kinsler's really the one that got it done in the 9th inning against Jason Motte in game 2. And he takes a strike, and as you said to his manager Ron Washington, isn't it great that a national audience gets to see how good Ian Kinsler has become?
Ron said he is off the charts in all departments. Very smart, the best base runner on the Rangers.
And he ran on his own.
Yep.
And Ron Washington said, we do not play scared. If he gets thrown out, he gets thrown out. Strike 2. Kinsler 4 for 7 already in this World Series. And in the postseason, hitting .319. The 1-2. Keeping it inside. Middle end to Kinsler so far.
All 2-seam fastballs. The 2-seam fastball from a right-handed pitcher runs inside to a right-handed hitter. Away.
And framed by Molina, but still too far outside. 2-2. Rangers during this postseason are averaging over 6.5 runs per game here at home, and Lohse's night starts with a strikeout as we learn more about this 33-year-old right-hander.
After 4 fastballs, a changeup, that's his out pitch. And as you saw, a strikeout pitch, a 2-seam fastball, good changeup, that's his meal ticket. That's the 2-seam fastball. And we're going to turn it over, and that's the 4-seam fastball, and that's a pitch that Kyle Lohse does not throw.
And I don't know whose hand that was, but that's a man who takes care of his nails. Not going to lie to you. Here's Andrus, who takes a strike.
After having them hammered for 21 years,
you're deserving.
You learn to do that.
Guy's wearing the same tie as you. That's outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Lohse has been through a lot. Here's a 1-1. Ball 2. Kyle was a late addition to the Cardinals in 08. Had a good year. Signed an extension after a 15-win season, and then in 2009 was hit while batting. His pitching arm, his right forearm. 3-1. And he never was able to bounce back until he had basically radical surgery that hadn't been done on a big league pitcher to relieve pressure in that pitching arm. Full count. And so when you look at his arm, and at some point we'll get a shot, and you can see that big tattoo he's got running up and down the inside of his forearm. He's got a scar you can't believe. That's strike 3. And back-to-back strikeouts start the night. Elvis does not agree.
Loesch with the tailing fastball just on the corner. Elvis didn't think so.
Here's Josh Hamilton. And just to finish on Loesch, they basically cut his forearm open and laid the entire flap of his skin open, and as he misses up an in ball 1 to Hamilton, they went to each nerve and cut the sheath around the nerve to alleviate that pressure. There's the tattoo that's covering part of the scar. But he didn't know if he'd ever be right again. And he went to a surgeon that had performed this operation on motocross dirt bike racers, and it's worked.
Motocross racers in Europe primarily. Dr. Stephen Chin of Los Angeles doing the surgery.
Counts 1-1 on Hamilton with 2 out. Changeup is low, and here's the injury. Ron Mayhay of Kansas City, May 23rd, 2009, and he was on the DL twice and just never felt right after that.
The thing about that is, Joe, it's such an unusual injury because it hit muscle, and that is his changeup right there, and his tattoo on his forearm.
Pujols will go to the bag, and it's a quiet bottom of the first for the Texas Rangers. The series split a game apiece, and the Cardinals lead 1-0. You can celebrate America's game with Chevrolet. Upload a picture of your youth baseball player, and you could win hundreds of MLB prizes. Be a part of the Chevy Centennial Celebration and enter for a chance to win at ChevyBaseball.com. David Freese, a ball and a strike. He's hit in 12 straight. We uploaded some pictures of him as a youth baseball player in his days back in St. Louis during game 2. That's strike 2 from Matt Harrison.
Just to look at Matt Harrison's eyes, they're much calmer than they were when he faced the Detroit Tigers. A lot more comfortable. Remember how the eyes were bulging and wide and big naturally.
Not on the postseason roster last year, and that one gets away. Full count. Thought they might add him last year. He did to the bullpen. It didn't happen. He has been a winner in the division series. No decision in game 4 of the ALCS. Strike 3. And strikeout number 1 for Matt Harrison. 1 out here in the second. That'll bring in Yadier Molina.
Matt was so disappointed not making the postseason roster last year, and he said, I've got to do something about this. So he picked up the ABCs of Pitching by Harvey Dorfman, who wrote the same book that Doc Halladay of the Philadelphia Phillies read, and says that turned his career around.
Beltre takes care of Molina. 2 out.
Harvey Dorfman passed this last year, within the last year. And Matt Harrison said reading that book helped him so much and calmed him down from what he was a year ago.
From Durham, North Carolina, 26 years old, and part of this rotation where all 5 had at least 13 wins for the Rangers. And now Harrison trying to show that in the postseason. Strike 1 to John Jay. It was 7 for 21 swinging the bat on the road during the postseason. Hasn't been hitting much at home at all. During the regular year, popped 10 home runs and hit just under 300. Set up at 0-2. Just outside, ball one. Another strikeout, his second of the inning. Harrison gets through the 6, 7, 8 hitters. Now the Rangers come up down by 1. Beautiful look down below Rangers ballpark, where Texas has played since '94. And we take a look at tonight's Chase Freedom Cashback player to watch. Michael Young, the guy at the plate who's hit 3 solo home runs, 7 for 30. His career against the man he faces now. Don't get shortchanged. Get your cash back with Chase Freedom. Strike one. Michael Young, Adrian Beltre, and Nelson Cruz against Kyle Loesch. Over but low, ball one. Not much hitting anywhere. Kinsler's been hot for Texas in this World Series. And Alan Craig. That's about it. That is a foul ball. Strike two.
Jeff Bradley of the Newark Star Ledger wrote a great article about a week ago about the comparison of Derek Jeter and Michael Young. Check this out.
That's an average season during the course of the career.
I had no idea before that article.
And they play the game the right way, and they're great representatives of these two franchises as that one rides inside. 2-2.
Yeah, that's something you couldn't see on that graphic, but is absolutely true.
Young is probably known as, well, he is the ultimate team player in Major League Baseball. He has played third, second, short, first, DH, and throughout it all, and that's what he's done over the last 5 games, he has always hit. Won a batting title and had a career high, hit .338 this year. For Kyle, one away. And Loesch has retired the first 4. Brings in Adrian Beltre. Beltre, a guy who had a huge year in his last season in LA with the Dodgers. And then parlayed that into a big deal with Seattle. He never got back to those numbers. He was on a 1-year deal last year with the Red Sox. Big year, and cashed in on a 5-year deal with Texas, and they're glad they've got him. Strike one.
Terry Francona, who managed Adrian last year, said he was a relentless team player. What a compliment.
Strike two. And they missed him in Boston, where he hit .321. 28 homers, 102 RBIs in 2010. Here's the 0-2. Ball one.
Aren't too many pitchers around who finish off right-handed hitters as right-handed pitchers with a changeup any more than Kyle Loesch. It's almost a power change because he doesn't throw that hard once again.
Now Beltre steps out. That 2004 year, Adrian hit .334, 48 home runs, 121 RBIs. Still 1-2. It's been 2 strikeouts, 2 groundouts for the guy that Chris Carpenter watches on his side day when he throws between starts to make sure Loesch isn't tipping pitches. There's the first hit of the night for the Rangers. Base hit to right by Adrian Beltre. 1 on, 1 out.
How does a major league pitcher tip his pitches? Well, they're are various ways. One way that Kyle Loesch said, you guys can talk about it because I don't do it anymore. He sped up his delivery for a fastball and slowed it down for a changeup. You can almost feel why that's necessary for a pitcher. He's trying to get more torque into his delivery, so he speeds up his motion for a fastball and then slows it down for deception with a change, and sometimes you don't even realize you're doing it. That's why a guy like Carpenter often goes to the bullpen to watch him and make sure he doesn't do it.
1 on, 1 out for Nelson Cruz. Ball 1. But I think the average fan, even maybe the hardcore fan, would be shocked at the littlest thing that hitters pick up on to get a key as to what pitch is coming.
You know, you're your best scout as a hitter. And that's what the good hitters do. They pick up the little details in a delivery. Any edge.
2-0. There's Dave Duncan. Here is a 2-0 pitch. Nope. Loesch steps off. Here it comes to Cruz. And he pulled the string on 2-0. Good pitch, 2-1. AJ Pierzynski is with us, joining our pregame and been with us during the postseason. AJ, every team seems to have 1 or 2 guys that's good at picking up a pitcher, maybe giving away what he's about to throw.
Absolutely. We have a guy named Mike Gellinger. He's like our assistant hitting coach, and he's the best I've ever seen. He always finds stuff on pitchers, whether you're talking about Loesch with the faster, slower motion. There's guys that move their glove. Sometimes they go higher or lower. Sometimes it's closer to their body. And Edwin Jackson, the starter for the Cardinals tomorrow, we used to have all his pitches from his eyes.
Did you tell Edwin that?
He knows. As soon as we traded for him, he knows. Trust me.
1 on, 1 out. 2 balls, 2 strikes. It was 2-0. Outside, full count. What do you mean from his eyes? What does that mean, AJ? How did you tell a pitch from his eyes?
He would actually look down, I believe, when he threw a fastball with his eyes, and he would look at the glove when he was throwing an off-speed pitch. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And I remember the Texas Rangers, when we played them, had Johan Santana's pitches from his mouth. He would stick his tongue out on certain pitches.
That is down and away, and it's 2 on, 1 out. A hit and a walk. And now Loesch is in his first jam with Napoli coming up. Napoli during the postseason has lit up with runners in scoring position, hitting .364. Strike 1. Loesch lost game 1 at Philadelphia, the division series, through a ton of changeups in that game. Ryan Howard pounded one on him. Lost game 4 of the NLCS, 4-2 against Milwaukee. On the corner, 0-2.
Pinpoint control with the fastball and then the slider. Right on the corner.
Now the 0-2. Blocked by Molina. On deck is David Murphy. Napoli batting in that 7 spot. It's hit 7 home runs in this postseason. 2-2. 6 by Nelson Cruz, and then Napoli went deep, hitting 7th in game 1.
Kyle Lohse is the type pitcher that's going to throw a lot of pitches. The reason for that, he cannot throw a middle of the plate fastball like Matt Harrison can, or like a lot of major league pitchers can when they break 94, 95 miles an hour. Lohse simply does not have that fast a fastball.
We talked about that nerve issue in his right forearm. What it did was take away the touch and feel for those off-speed pitches, his breaking ball. Here is his 2-2. Off the hands and should be out number 2. Alan Craig hauls it in. And the batter will be David Murphy. There's the postseason for Murphy, 9 for 25. He got hot the last month and a half of the regular season, and it's carried over. Ball 1.
May remember the Yankee teams of the late 90s managed by Joe Torre. Remember Scott Brocious in that 8th hole a lot, drove over 100 runs in a couple of years. There's Joe. And David Murphy has that type of presence as the number 8 hole hitter for the Rangers.
Kind of looks like him.
He does a little bit. Scott Brocious enjoying retirement, I believe, in McMinnville, Oregon. If that's not where he's from, I would imagine I would hear from it from the good folks in McMinnville.
Here is a 1-1 to Murphy. 2 on, 2 out. Pujols gets the short hop and goes to the bag. Lohse allowed a hit, a walk, 2 stranded. And who's coming up for St. Louis? Terrio for Cal, and then that man, Alan Craig. 3 hits, 3 RBIs, including that in the first. 1-0 Cardinals. Here's a little guy, Ryan Terrio, leading it off, playing second base tonight. And the count evens at a ball and a strike. Terrio making his first World Series start. You know him mainly from his days with the Cubs, was with the Dodgers, and started this season as the Cardinals' everyday shortstop. And he grounds one up the middle. Kinsler kicks it, and Terrio is safe. That should be an error, and if it is, it's his second.
Ian made an error on a ball hit by Lance Berkman. Gene Motte used to say, when you go to your right as an infielder, make sure you feel the ball in the web. It's the softest part of the glove. Ball comes up, pops him in the heel. Error, Kinsler.
And clearly safe was Terrio to start the inning. Made only 11 during the regular season. That's his second of the series. Here's for Call. Interesting dynamic that the Cardinals had Terrio at short. Had a rough year defensively first half. Cardinals added for Call, and Terrio's play has really improved. Played some second base. Came up with some big hits. And he's on to start this third inning as Furcal fouls away strike 1.
Looked like Furcal was nodding to third base coach Jose Oquendo. Maybe Oquendo flashed the bunt sign.
Slide step, quick pitch by Harrison. Ball 1. Cardinals have not stolen a base yet during this series, 7 during the postseason. Terrio stole 4. It was caught 6 times during the regular season. Alan Craig on deck. Might be 2. Yep. 4-6-3. 2 out, nobody on.
The last time that Kinsler made an error, he and Elvis Andrus turned in one of the finest double plays you will ever see in the 4th inning of Game 2. More conventional this time around.
That shouldn't be a surprise. As you said, Harrison induced the most double play groundouts in the major leagues, and the Cardinals set a league record by grounding into 169 double plays.
Man.
And with 2 out, nobody on, here is Alan Craig, who homered his first time up. Outside part, strike 1.
Even though Craig homered down the left field line, we talked about his power to right field. There are 4 guys in the Cardinal lineup with great power the other way. Craig, Pujols, Holiday, and David Freese.
Last player to have 4 hits in his first 4 World Series at bats was Larry Walker with the Cardinals against the Red Sox. But the unique part of it is Alan Craig is trying to do it across 3 games.
And 2 pinch hit appearances.
Up on the count here, 2-1. And now 2-2.
That's how to strip the power from a hitter, is the changeup.
Got him on the inside corner. Strikeout number 3. Out number 3. Bottom of inning number 3. 1-0. Cardinals on top. Your Torrealba, who had a nice year at the plate and behind it for the Rangers, actually caught more games for Texas than Napoli. Will lead it off, batting 9th. He's 4 for 13 this postseason. Hit .273 during the regular year, 7 home runs. Former Colorado Rocky, and he's first up against Loesch. 1-0 Cardinals on top, and that's ball 1 up. Torrealba, Kinsler, and Elvis Andrus for the Rangers. Strike 1.
Ron Washington doing a very good job with his catching tandem. Torrealba with 7 home runs. Napoli, when he caught, had 19. So 26 home runs out of that catching position.
Down and away, 2-1. Napoli playing first tonight, but they want and need his bat in the lineup. Here's a 2-1. Reaching for it. That's into the corner. It is foul. Foul, foul, foul. As it leaves our view down in the right field corner, and it was Greg Gibson who made the call.
Ball by a right-handed hitter, hit down the right field line, tailing. Oh man, up 4 inches.
So instead of a leadoff double, Torrealba, who's taking a while to get back to the plate, has a 2-2 count. Now the 2-2. And a string puller from Kyle Loesch a changeup, and strikeout number 3. Our Get to a Better State recap brought to you by State Farm for auto, home, life, and banking. Get to a better state. And that trip 90 feet from Ian Kinsler, the stolen base, really led Texas to the victory in game 2.
Yeah, both 90 feet dashes, one by Kinsler and the second one by Elvis Andrus. Kinsler and Andrus dominating the 4th and 5th innings defensively in game 2, and then the offensive part of it in the 9th.
And I know the circumstances are different, but it made me think of Dave Roberts in that big steal in game 4 of the ALCS with the Yankees and the Red Sox. Red Sox were down 3-0. Roberts was barely safe. And then history was made as Boston went on to win that game 3 more. And they became the first team to come back from a 3-0 deficit to win best of 7 series, and then swept the Cardinals in the World Series. Strike 2. But Kinsler, if he's out, if the Rangers don't win that game, then they're down 2-0, and they're forced to win 4 of the next 5 if they want to win their first championship.
Yeah, another difference between that, everybody knew Dave Roberts was going. Nobody knew Kinsler was going, including Tony La Russa. It surprised everybody with nobody out in a bunting situation.
Here's a 2-2. Just inside a full count. And Loesch steps off. Inside, a 1-out walk. And the second walk issued by Loesch. Brings in Elvis Andrus. You know, this World Series, as Molina goes out to talk to Loesch, has a little bit different feel than we're used to, because the Cardinals and the Rangers have only met one time, and that was back in 2004. You know, with interleague play, we're all now used to seeing AL against NL, but you know, Texas and the Cardinals, for the most part, are getting to know each other over these first few games. And it's a rare meeting of these two franchises here in this 107th World Series.
Kyle Loesch has allowed only 2 stolen bases. Think about that. 2 stolen bases in the last 2 years. So that with Yadier Molina behind the plate and a quick move home, remote, I don't think Kinsler's going to try him unless it's the front part of a hit and run.
You can hear Kinsler appeal to the first base umpire Ron Kulpa, saying that's a balk. But no balk was called.
I think Ian is thinking when that left leg collapses, that's the old Don Drysdale move to first base. It was a balk. Because often the base runner at first base will watch that left leg, and when it goes toward home, he's committed to going home. If he collapses that left leg just a bit and then comes to first, technically it's a balk. You see him move that left foot around, and that's why Kinsler questioned first base umpire Ron Kulpa.
Inside on Andrus, who showed bunt on the first pitch. There's 1 out in the inning. Tony La Russa was really kicking himself when we met with him today before the game about that stolen base. Faulting himself for not making Motte throw over, use his better move to keep Kinsler close in the 9th inning of game 2. And now we're going to see a lot of these throws over as they try to slow down what the Rangers do well, and that's their running game.
See that front leg? See, it's very close to a balk. When you collapse that front side, you're committed to go home. But Loesch has it down so perfectly, it's almost unidentifiable.
This game has come to a standstill with a 1-1 count. That's into right. Craig to his left. 2 out. And the former third baseman has really taken well to the outfield, Alan Craig. That's where the Cardinals believe he'll get his most at bats. Hauled it in, got a good jump. Here's Hamilton.
28 games in left field this year and 16 in right field for Alan Craig.
8 at second base as La Russa tried to cram what he can do at the plate into the lineup and find a position.
That's the most dangerous position for him, because the footwork around second base, it just takes one runner going into him to tear a knee up.
Hamilton 0 for 8 in this World Series. Foul. 2 for 28 over the last 2 World Series. And this was a Texas team that last year during the World Series scored a total of 12 runs in 5 games, as they were just shut down by the Giants. As a group, Ron Washington's team hit only 190.
Get the feeling that that Giant starting rotation is going to shut down teams for the next 7 or 8 years. Lincecum, Kane, Bumgarner.
Oh, 0-1 the count on Hamilton, bothered by that sore left groin, and it's noticeable to the Cardinal pitchers that he is not the same at driving the ball, but in this park, plenty strong enough to ride one out. Ball 1 inside.
Even though the bat's in your hand or hands, it's tough to hit without your legs.
Molina sets up way inside. Throw down to first and safe, as Kinsler just got back.
That's what Molina loves to do, without anybody knowing it. When you're the runner at first, you can't see Molina, but he's so quick with those feet. 39 pickoffs since he became the Cardinals regular back in '04. I mean, a bullet, and that was a close play. Wow. Back in there.
And now the count 2-1. Three and 1 with Michael Young on deck.
I think if you're Josh Hamilton right here, you look for a changeup. I mean, you've got a free pitch. If you foul it off, if you swing through it, I don't think he's going to throw him a fastball.
And he rips it foul down the right field line. And you would have been looking for it. You would have ripped that ball foul.
I'd have tried. Change up right up around the letters, and it looked like Hamilton was looking for that pitch.
Hamilton, who by his own admission doesn't study a lot of video. He just wants to get in there, see it, and hit it. Runner will go. Another foul. And another changeup from Kyle Loesch. Runner goes, and Hamilton hits it to Pujols, and the inning is over. A walk, a man left. Rangers have left 3. We've played 3. And as we go to the 4th with Pujols, Holiday, Berkman coming up, the visitors, the Cardinals, lead by 1. with the Cardinals leading 1-0. Pujols fouls it, strike one.
Even though this is only the 4th inning, I didn't anticipate 1 run being scored through the first 3.
Ball one. On the inside corner, good pitch. Strike two.
Matt Harrison has been using that inside corner very, very well against the Cardinals.
Up high, 2-2.
Now you've got to pitch inside in this ballpark. Sometimes you get burned, like the Allen Craig home run. That ball really shoots out to right center.
Base hit into left. Pujols has his first World Series hit, and it comes leading off in the 4th. The World Series is sponsored by the all-new Volkswagen Passat. That's Das Auto. And by Chase. Don't get shortchanged. Get your cash back with Chase Freedom. Here's Matt Holliday, the cleanup man, with Berkman on deck. Cardinals leading in the 4th. Holliday singled into right his first time, and he takes ball one. That's the 19th hit of the postseason for Pujols. And his first of this series. Now Torrealba is going to go hand deliver the baseball to Matt Harrison.
Talk about all the records that Pujols holds, not only catching Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth, but surpassing them. Leads all active players with 2,073 hits over his 11 years. That's an average of 188 hits a year for 11 years.
For a power guy.
For a power hitter, right. Staggering.
3-time MVP. Free agent to be. Holliday hits a double play ball to Andrews. 6-4 safe. And we're going to get an argument as Napoli says he tagged Holliday going by.
Tagged him before he got to the bag. That's what Napoli said. Looked like Holliday tried to avoid it. He was out. He was out easily. Almost by a full stride. Oh. Napoli, of course, a catcher, and when he came down on the left shoulder, Matt Holliday had knocked him to the ground.
No error. It was a routine throw, and it was no good by Kinsler.
Can't anticipate a double play, but here it is, regular speed. Easily at second.
And then Holliday was slow to get up. But he was clearly out.
Pujols made no attempt to take out Kinsler at second base, so there was really no reason for a bad throw.
That's as routine as they get. And Harrison, who induced one last inning, is hurt by his defense here. Berkman now. 1 ball, 1 strike. Harrison trying still to pitch around that leadoff hit. Now it's Holliday on. Berkman up and David Freese next. Over but low, ball 2. Berkman with a base hit into right. And Holliday will go station to station, stop at second with 1 out.
That is a good job. That pitch was designed to get a ground ball double play, but Berkman, a terrific hitter. stayed with that tailing fastball, going away from him, really off the plate, to rifle one to right field. It's a good hit by a good hitter.
And now we'll see if the Cardinals turn that break they got on that call at first base into a run or two. David Freese steps in. 19 of 46 this postseason, 4 home runs. And 2 for 6 so far in this World Series. Our Volkswagen Passat trivia question: David Freese has a 12-game postseason hitting streak, which includes games 1 and 2 of the World Series. Who holds the record for the longest World Series hitting streak? Ball 1 outside. So Freese trying to make it 13 straight this postseason. Holiday the lead runner, Berkman on at first.
Haven't seen a lot of David Freese, but it looks to me like you have to impress him inside. If you allow him to extend those arms, he can take you out to right field.
That's outside. It's 2-0. Chase that one. Off-speed pitch up and away, 2-1.
Good changeup from Harrison and a fastball count. Freese came up empty.
That's where we are. Game 3, series tied 1-1. Cardinals lead 1-0. If you're just joining us here tonight, a first inning home run by Alan Craig, the only runs. Now 2 on 1 out, and Freese a 2-2 count.
Now's the time to come back inside. He's gone away 4 straight times. 2 fastballs, 2 changeups.
The opposite way and fair. Down the right field line, Holiday will score. Berkman will dig to third, and they hold him late on an RBI double by David Freese. He's hit in 13 straight, and that call at first looms large now. It's 2-0.
And also staying in the one spot on the plate. Harrison going away and away, misses. 2-0 pitch, fouled off. Fouled off. He goes away again. Base hit down the right field line. 5 straight pitches away, and Freese delivers. But you're right, Joe, that routine double play that was not turned. The difference so far in a Cardinal run, at least 1.
So now he's up to 13 straight. That's a franchise record, David Freese. He turns it into a run. And Yadier Molina will be the batter, second and third, only 1 out.
I wouldn't pitch to Molina right here. To me, this is no brainer, but this is the big play in this game. Napoli coming down on Matt Holliday. It appeared that he was out. Napoli thought he was out. First base umpire Ron Kulpa called him safe.
Now the infield in. Yeah, I'm with you with regard to pitching to Molina.
Yeah, I mean, why would you even try it right here? The last time Matt Harrison tried to pitch around the hitter was Miguel Cabrera with the Tigers, and Cabrera doubled down the right field line. Ron Washington saying sometimes guys don't know how to pitch around the hitter. Well, if he doesn't, take it out of his hands and walk him. Now the count, 2 balls and no strikes. There's no sense in messing with him right here.
And now they are going to put him on. This will load him up and bring in John Jay, who's been struggling. The intentional pass is the first walk handed out by Harrison in this game. And Scott Feldman has been so good this postseason as the long reliever getting loose. Bases loaded with Jay coming up. He's 0 for 8 in this World Series and just 8 for 45 this postseason. Big spot for St. Louis and for the young center fielder. And for Matt Harrison, who's trying to get another double play ball. They're backed up on the infield looking for it. Strike one, late swing. The 0-1. Slow roller. Napoli will come home, and it's a bad throw. Gets away, and 2 runs are going to score. And the defense has really let down Matt Harrison here in the 4th.
There is no question about it. Even though the infield was in double play depth, if a ball is tapped to third or first, then obviously they have the option, since the double play is not in order, to come home. And this throw in the foul in the left-handed batter's box, allowing 2 runs to score. Easy play for Napoli. But the first error of the inning, and really it should have been 2 errors, but a break for the Cardinals continue to come.
It's a fielder's choice error on Napoli. No RBI. And 2-run score. And now the infield is in with Terrio at the plate, second and third, 1 out. Terrio reached on an error by Kinsler his first time up. Chased it. Ball and a strike. And now the 1-1. Strike 2. So Harrison, who could be out of the inning, is now pitching to stay in the inning. And here's that play in the throw from Napoli.
I don't think Mike set his feet. He tried to hurry that throw, throwing it wildly, allowing at least 2 more Cardinal runs to score.
And the reaction from the Cardinal bullpen.
Looks like he's doing the wash.
I think that's Motte.
Yeah.
Here's the 1-2. Down and in, scooped up by Torrealba, 2-2.
You folks, if this is your first game, you are not familiar with the wash. When Ron Washington gets animated, he's not had a chance yet. But if you're going to watch the next 3 games, you will see it when he gets animated when his team scores. Uninhibited.
Here's a 2-2 to Terrio. Ground ball, base hit, left field. Late break by Jay. He'll hold at third, in to score Molina, and it's 5-0 Cardinals here in the 4th. So Terrio out of the number 9 spot drives home a run with a base hit into left. And there's still only 1 out in the inning.
Infield in. Base hit. John Jay with 1 out, held up by Jose Oquendo. Who was to know that blown call at first base was going to lead to this?
It was followed by a hit by Berkman, a double by Freese, an intentional walk, a fielder's choice, and an error, and now a base hit into left. And it's been a 4-run inning We'll see if Harrison will continue, and he will for one more batter for Cal. The right-handed hitting Craig on deck and Feldman in the bullpen. Ball one.
You'll see that often when a third base coach goes and talks to a runner at third with less than 2 outs, because a squeeze play is a word sign.
That's another chopper. To the plate is Jay, and he is out. 2 out in the inning.
Boy, that's a good play by Harrison, who fed Yorvit Torrealba like a shortstop would feed a second baseman. Watch the backhanded flip. Good play, Harrison, to get Jay. Very nice.
And that's going to be it for Matt Harrison. So his last play is a good defensive play. Out at the plate was Jay. Scott Feldman is ready in the bullpen. Alan Craig, the 9th man to bat in the inning, is coming up. A big call at first. An error committed by Napoli, and the Cardinals in the 4th lead by 5. Well, Matt Harrison pitched better than those numbers, deserved a better fate, but he has now allowed 4 earned runs, 5 total, leaves with 2 on, 2 out. And he gives way to Scott Feldman. We'll deal with Alan Craig, the 9th man to bat in the inning, and Feldman's been almost unhittable and perfect this postseason.
10 1/3 innings of work with no walks, 10 Ks, allowing only 4 hits.
Alan Craig has homered and struck out. Cardinals have scored 4, lead by 5. Here in the 4th. Ball one, down and away, and the man who started this rally with a base hit into left, Albert Pujols, waits on deck. Terrio, the lead man at second, for Cal on at first. Inside, 2-0. Heart of the order will bat for the Rangers in the bottom of this 4th, and they'll be trailing by at least a handful. Here comes a 2-0 to Alan Craig. On the outside corner, good pitch, 2-1. Feldman, who had knee surgery after last year's World Series, misses there. It's 3-1. He didn't come back till the 3rd week of July. 17-game winner 2 years ago. He too was off the postseason roster last year with the Rangers. They're glad they have him on this year. With 2 on, 2 out, here comes a 3-1 pitch. Chopper should end the inning, and Kinsler will make the throw accurately this time to end the threat. But the Cardinals take advantage of that break. Holiday called safe, and then the Cardinal bats went to work. Napoli an error, Terrio a hit, and it's 5-0 St. Louis after 3.5. First pitch of the bottom of the 4th is outside to Michael Young. We'll see how Kyle Loesch handles Prosperity, up 5-0 here in Game 3. Young hits it in the air to right. Back at the wall. And the Rangers are on the board. It's 5-1.
You know, it wouldn't take long. Here we are in the 4th inning. Kyle Loesch a fastball away. But Michael Young, knowing this ballpark better than anybody on either side, taking advantage of the ball shooting out to right.
And now a base hit to left by Beltre. And that will bring in Nelson Cruz. Jaime Garcia, who was so good in game 2, went 7 no runs on 3 hits, struck out 7, is with us down in the dugout. And how you feeling about the way this inning has started, Jaime?
You know what? It's not very good, but I feel like 5 runs in this ballpark is not a lot of runs, because obviously these guys are really good at home, and we just gotta try to keep making pitches and get outs.
You have to be awfully proud with the way you performed in game 2 to both sides of the plate.
Yeah, you know what? I was able to keep the ball down and just trying to mix up my pitches, get him out of balance, because obviously he's like the best lineup in the American League this year. So it was a lot of fun, but unfortunately we didn't get the win. So
here's the first one to Nelson Cruz. Off the hands, big swing, strike 1.
And Jaime, for fans who may not know, in World Series meetings, people don't know perhaps that you get guys out differently than Kyle Loesch or Chris Carpenter. Right?
Yeah, we all we all have our different styles. Carpenter is throws a little harder than both of us, but we mainly try to do the same thing: is get ahead in the counts and keep the ball down. That's the main things you could try to focus every time you're pitching.
And the last question, we'll let you go. How's the overall mood of your team as you guys have bombarded this postseason? This has been some kind of run for your club.
Oh, this is unbelievable, man. I'm so proud of getting a chance to play with these guys. They're the whole last 2 months of the season and the playoffs have been unbelievable.
Here's one into right at the wall. Cruz has hit another. A 2-run shot, and it's a 5-3 game.
Wow.
Rangers are back in it here in the 4th. That even got a wow out of Jaime Garcia. Jaime will let you go.
All right, man. Thanks for talking to you guys. Thank you.
How about his power the other way?
My gosh.
And that's home run number 7 on the postseason for Nelson Cruz.
First Michael Young, and now Nelson Cruz. Looked like a changeup away. Cruz tremendously strong. It was a change. A little bit up and into the seats.
And still nobody out. Now Dave Duncan will visit. And I would imagine the Cardinal bullpen will get busy here in the 4th.
Once again, this ballpark led the major leagues in runs scored per game, in home runs per game, in elevated ERA. So this is an easier park in which to come back than any major league field, or at least most major league fields.
We talked about Ron Washington reacting. And that's his first outburst of the night. Now Napoli, who had that error in the 4-run top of the 4th, takes a ball.
Yeah, that was a modified version of the wash.
A homer by Young, a single by Beltre, a homer by Cruz. 5-3 game. In at the knees. A ball and a strike. Fernando Salas, a right-hander, gets loose. Strike 2. Now Cruz has hit a home run in 4 straight here at home. Here's a 1-2. Over but low, ball 2. Outside, ball 3.
Second time through the order, the Rangers appear to be looking for that off-speed pitch. First time through, a lot easier for Kyle Loesch.
Kyle can't get there, and the first 4 have reached. Napoli on with a base hit up the middle.
This Ranger team can strike like cobras.
And we'll see if that's it for Kyle Loesch. It is. Salas will enter. David Murphy will be the hitter. And Kyle Loesch is finished after going 3+. The 2 home runs, both to right. Michael Young, Nelson Cruz, fireworks. Action here in Arlington. Pitching change for the Cardinals. Fernando Salas is ready to go. With the tying run at the plate, nobody out here in the 4th. David Murphy hit 11 home runs during the regular season, has not gone deep this postseason. A home run, a single, a 2-run shot, a single, and that was it for Loesch. 3+, 3 runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 2 home runs. Both teams have to go to their bullpen in the 4th inning. Out in front, and Molina makes the play. 1 out. Down to second is Napoli.
That is not a routine play, but Molina had to call Salas off the play because he's going toward first base, and it's doubtful that Salas would have made this play effectively. Watch Molina calling him off, going toward the play with that gun of his. A relatively easy play.
And now Torrealba, the number 9 man who struck out his first time. You know, one factor is that with the schedule, we are ready to play 3 games in 3 days. So with the lack of deep starting pitching here tonight, it'll be a test for these bullpens here at the start of this 3-day run.
You know, Joe, Tony La Russa telling us that during the regular season, there's no way to play like you played during a 7-game playoff or a World Series. You'd wear the staff out.
Strike 1.
But in the World Series, you have no other alternative.
And La Russa keeps saying, I'm going to worry about this game.
Right.
You have to separate the games, and I'll attack tomorrow when I get there. Fastball is high, a ball and a strike to Torrealba. On deck is Kinsler, who made that wild throw in the top of this 4th, which led to a missed call, which led to big damage. It was 5-0, now it's 5-3. Here's a 1-1. On the outside part, strike 2. That'll get out of play. This is exactly what you talked about in the open. More power, home runs, and balls hit by right-handed batters out to right.
Really not a problem for about 8 right-handed hitters in both lineups. 4 for the Cardinals, 4 for the Rangers.
Base hit into right. Napoli will be held. And it's first and third, 1 out.
We mentioned Dave Anderson a couple of times. Watch how he waits to throw up the hands. He waits to see what develops in right field. If there's a slight bobble by Alan Craig, then he sends Napoli. But trailing by 2 instead of 1, he has to hold him at third base with 1 out.
Now it's Kinsler. And all of a sudden, the Rangers have the go-ahead run at the plate. Tying runs are on. Ball 1.
3 innings ago in the first inning after the Alan Craig home run, my partner said, this game's not going to end 1-0. And you were right. Were you ever? It was easy. These 2 lineups, no cushion.
Got under it. Skied into left. Holiday is there. Tagging is Napoli. Here's the throw and out to end the inning. What a throw by Holiday. And a tag by Molina to end a long 4th. Holiday with a 1-hop strike. And this long 4th inning is over. 5-3 into the 5th. And back after this from your local Fox station. Well, how about that 4th inning here in game 3? 4 in the top half, 3 in the bottom half, and all of it ended on a double play and a tag by Molina at the plate.
Watch the left leg of Napoli. It skews toward first base, and that allowed Molina to make the tag on the back leg to get Napoli.
Breaking ball from Feldman. Strike 1 on Pujols, and here's another look.
Watch the left leg going toward first, and that allowed Molina to make the play. Fine throw by Holiday in left.
He's on deck as Pujols has another hit. He leads off the 5th the same way he did in the 4th with a base hit. And he's on with Holiday, Berkman, and Freese coming up.
That play by Holiday was reminiscent of the play in the 1975 World Series when George Foster, the left fielder, made a terrific play to get Denny Doyle at home. And at the time, that was a key play in the World Series between the Red Sox and the Cincinnati Reds.
Holiday is at the plate. Nobody out. Fastball for a strike.
A few innings later, Carlton Fisk with the home run off Pat Darcy, called by Dick Stockton. And today is the 36th anniversary of that game.
Dick Stockton is in town to do the Cowboys and Rams tomorrow.
And was out at the ballpark to see his buddy Tony La Russa today.
That's down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike on Holiday. Matt's not really known as a great outfielder, but he just made a really good throw on that fly ball into left that was hit really high into the air off the bat of Ian Kinsler. Here's a 1-1. Inside, 2-1.
It's a throw, Joe, that a left fielder can't make in the line because if he does, he'll hit the runner. So you have to make it inside the line about a yard, and he fed it to Molina on 1 hop perfectly.
A wild throw that Napoli goes up to get from Feldman. Holliday's been a hot hitter for the Cardinals since the start of the NLCS as he takes inside ball 3. And along with what he's done with his bat, he throws inside the line and they get Napoli to end the inning. There goes Pujols on ball 4. And it's 2 on with nobody out, a hit and a walk.
That is the first walk given up by Scott Feldman in 10 2/3 innings this postseason.
Berkman's digging in, and we'll take a look at the 2 reactions. There's Wash doing the wash, watching the play at the plate. And then La Russa, who says he runs on the inside. Just a little head shake and back down into the dugout, plotting out, I'm sure, who else is going to come out of that bullpen.
Yeah, the Tony is not nearly as animated as the Wash.
It's no fun.
No.
Berkman has a hit and a run scored. Now he gets to bat left-handed, his preferred side, his power side, ball 1. First 21 innings of this World Series combined, a total of 9 runs. 7 last inning here in game 3. That's inside and a 2-0 count. Berkman has hit 32 home runs this season, including 1 in the postseason, and 28 of them have been from this side of the plate. We all know how the ball jumps out to right. That's ball 3, 3-0. And that drives Mike Maddox to the phone. Pitching coach for the Rangers. Three and 1. A guy just added to the roster for this World Series is getting ready, Mark Lowe. Here's a 3-1. Instead, Feldman looks back at Pujols. That's low, and that'll load him up. And that'll bring Mike Maddox out to the mound. A hit and 2 walks. And while we have a chance, this December, 2 of the most storied conferences in college football culminate their seasons with 2 epic championship games for the first time in their history. Fox Sports will bring them to you on back-to-back nights. The Pac-12 championship game is Friday, December 2nd, and the Big Ten championship game Saturday, December 3rd. And both games are only on Fox Sports. And what an opportunity here for St. Louis and David Freese, who had an RBI double his last time up. We'll give you the Geico in-game box score for the Cardinals. Freese has a double, an RBI, a run scored. Pujols 2 hits. Home run by Craig in the first. RBI hit by the number 9 Manterio in that 4-run fourth. Bases loaded for David Freese, who shatters his bat, gets it past Feldman. A run scores, 1 out. And it's an RBI for Freese. The other runners advance, and it's 6-3 here in the 5th.
That ball was not hit sharply enough for Adrian Beltre to think about anything but first base. Breaking the bat of David Freese. Good pitch by Feldman. In fact, too good a pitch. The two-seam fastball and on the hands. I think the Rangers are going to change their strategy with David Freese and start throwing him more inside.
Now it's 2nd and 3rd, 1 out for Molina with John Jay on deck. Infield comes in. Ball 1 up. Lead man is Holiday at 3rd. Berkman at 2nd. And Mark Lowe getting ready in a hurry out in the Rangers bullpen. Off the hands. Strike 1. Good pitch. Feldman created this problem with 2 walks after a leadoff hit by Pujols. Now a 1-1 to Molina, who drove home a career high in runs this year, and he's got 2 in this World Series. It's a 2-run double, and that opens it up back to a 5-run game. It's 8-3 in the 5th. A career high 65 during the regular season in his first World Series. RBIs here in game 3.
The Cardinals were helped out in the 4th inning with that call at first base. No help in this inning as Molina with a line drive down the line to drive in 2.
And now John Jay, runner at 2nd, still only 1 out. And still Feldman on the mound. Jay is 0 for 2. Back to Feldman, and Molina's trapped. And the fielder's choice. 1-6-5 for the out. Feldman to Andrews to Beltre. And John Jay is on at first with 2 down.
Sometimes when you're not a fast runner, you get caught on a play like this because you're trying to get an extra jump as the runner at 2nd base so you can score. So Molina off too far. Good play by Feldman. Over to Andres, and the tag made by Beltre.
And now Terrio, who has an RBI single. He's also reached on an error. And the crowd that was going nuts here moments ago in the bottom of the 4th inning has been taken out of it.
They're not through.
Oh no. The Cardinals have their 5-run lead back. And you can hear the instruction of Dave McKay, the Cardinal first base coach, as he is working with John Jay. Jay has a stolen base this postseason. If the Cardinals are thinking about it, this would be a time to run. Wind is really whipping around here at Rangers ballpark.
Very deceptive wind with the flags in right field. First appearances, you think the wind's blowing in, but down about 100 feet where balls shoot out to right field, it's blowing out. That swirling effect at this ballpark.
Jay is going. Pitch a strike, throw down is in time. And the inning is over. But the Cardinals come up with 3 on 2 hits and 2 walks. Halfway through game number 3. And Albert Pujols, who started the rally in the 4th, starts one in the 5th. And the Cardinals lead 8-3. Lot of action the last 2 innings. And as it's just after 9 o'clock here in Arlington, there's all the action that Tim circles. Alan Craig with a home run in the 1st. A little recap for you. Michael Young and Nelson Cruz hit home runs, and now here come the Rangers. A leadoff base hit by Elvis Andrus to start the 5th against Fernando Salas.
Rangers not waiting around even though they trail by 5 runs. They realize the Cardinal bullpen as effective at throwing strikes as the Ranger bullpen. David Freese playing in for the bunt, diving, base hit, Andrus.
And now Josh Hamilton. Rangers waiting for him to pop one. No home runs, 8 RBIs, 0 for 2 tonight. Ground ball, base hit right field. First pitch swinging, and Elvis Andrus goes to 3rd with nobody out.
Regardless of the score, you have the second baseman in your view if you're the runner on at first base. So if that ball gets by, and particularly one of those 38 hoppers, you know the grass is going to slow it down, so you go to 3rd easily, even though, again, you're trailing by 5.
So this game back to form for what we saw in LCS play, both AL and NL. Salas in his 2nd inning of work deals with Michael Young. Homered his last time up. Ball 1.
Get that feeling that nobody is safe in that circle in the middle of the field. Raised by 10 inches.
Step onto it at your own risk.
Right.
A 1-0. 2-0. Cardinals would trade a double play for a run.
In a heartbeat.
Michael Young is looking to jump on another pitch, and now Yadier Molina will come out to talk. And while we see action out of these bullpens, let's go down to Ken Rosenthal.
One of the things we're seeing here, Joe, in addition to the ballpark factor and the warmer weather, might be the growing familiarity of the hitters on both teams with the bullpens. I talked with Rangers hitting coach Scott Coolbaugh about that yesterday, and he said you saw a lot better at-bats from their team in Game 2 against the bullpen than you did in Game 1. So that's another reason why we may be seeing more offense tonight.
Salas has worked now in every game. I'm sure Zepchinski's got his ticket stamped for an appearance in this one. And Lance Lynn, who worked in Game 2. Young went after one up. Was looking to jack one. As he did his last time up, it's 2-1. That was a big swing.
Yeah, that's Michael's happy zone right there. More than any other player on either team, he is a high ball hitter. He loves that pitch.
Three and 1 with Adrian Beltre on deck. Hard hit past David Freese. In to score is Elvis Andrus. Digging to 3rd is Hamilton. RBI double Young. And it's an 8-4 game.
Runner from third. Elvis Andrus scores easily. Tell you, with the bad groin, Joe, it's tougher to stop than it is to run. Dave Anderson holding Josh Hamilton up at third base. You can almost feel it.
And here comes La Russa with Beltre coming up. It's a 4-run game, second and third, nobody out, and Lance Lynn will be coming in. Hard throwing right-hander. And while the Cardinals switch pitchers, Jenny O invites you to switch to Turkey. Lynn is in, Salas is out. More action for the Rangers here in the 5th. Cardinals got 4 runs in the top of the 4th. The Rangers got up off the deck and got 3. Cardinals got 3 in the 5th. Rangers have 1 already on the board. Second and third, nobody out. Lance Lynn, strike 1 on Adrian Beltre. Lynn is a harder thrower than Salas. Had a strained oblique, was on the 60-day DL. His time on the DL ended right before the NLCS. Beltre, strike 2.
If you're an infielder for the Cardinals, you're 4 up and you're playing back, runners on at second and third, nobody out. Normally you wouldn't even think about the runner at third base. But with Josh Hamilton's condition, the infielders, I'll guarantee you're at least thinking about it. On a ground ball, they could come home.
Down and in, 1-2. Condition being a pulled groin that Hamilton is really struggling with, both at the plate and on the bases. He's at third, Michael Young at second. The 1-2. Base hit. In to score is Hamilton. Holding at first with a single is Beltre, and it's 8-5.
Get the feeling this game's going to resemble a rodeo more than a baseball game before it's over. Percal doing what he can't get to it, and the line keeps moving for the Rangers.
And now the guy representing the tying run at the plate is Nelson Cruz, who, if you're just joining us, hit another. 6 in the ALCS. 2-run shot his last time up. Strike 1.
10 hits in the postseason, 1 single.
The rest have been doubles or have left the park. Strike 2. Rangers offensively over the last 2 innings, 5 runs on 9 hits, compared to what they did in the first 2 games. Big strikeout for Lance Lynn, and he cranked it up to 95. 1 away.
All hard stuff, but he made the pitch when he had to, the high fastball, to make Cruz go out of the strike zone. Because it appears, Joe, that pitchers are going to have to go out of the strike zone to get guys out tonight. These hitters all of a sudden are locked in.
Here's Napoli. Ball 1 smothered by Molina. Napoli singled and then was thrown out at the plate to end the 4th by Holiday. The Napoli chant. Two and 0. Two and 1.
Boy, that was a nasty slider in a fastball count. Watch this ball break. Good pitch from Lynn. The difference, we mentioned it the other night, the difference between major league pitchers and AAA pitchers, they throw many more breaking balls in fastball counts.
Time called, granted by Alfonso Marquez. And Molina's going to go out and talk to Lynn. I think it was Molina who asked for time. It is a big day on Fox tomorrow. It's NFL Sunday doubleheader beginning with the Falcons and the Lions. Redskins, Panthers, Bears, Bucks in London. America's game of the week. It's the Vikings and the Pack. Or the Rams meet the Cowboys, and then tomorrow night we have game 4 of this World Series. Rangers and Cardinals. All on Fox tomorrow. There's a strike, and it's 2-2. That day starts with the Built Ford Tough Fox NFL Sunday pregame show. At noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. You can watch Fox from 12 to 12. It was 2-0. Now it's 2-2 on Napoli. Reaching for it. Foul ball. Into right. Craig will drift back a few. Young will tag and score. The throw is into second. And again, it's a 2-run game. Sac fly by Napoli into right.
That is a great job of hitting by Mike Napoli, who had to climb the ladder on that high fastball after 3 fastballs, I beg your pardon, 3 sliders. Lynn hits the glove right there. I mean, Napoli just tomahawked that ball deep enough to score the run. Fine job by Napoli.
Craig threw to the right base. 2 out in the inning, and here's David Murphy. Tying run at the plate. Ball 1 outside. Big weapon of Alexio Gondo getting loose. Cardinals will have Terrio for Colin Craig in the 6th.
Gondo Craig revisited.
Could have that matchup for the 3rd time in 3 games. Counts 2-0. 3-0, Torre Alba next. That will put 2 on.
That's what happens after a while. Pitchers become gun shy. He's throwing a 3-0 breaking ball to David Murphy, the 8th place hitter, when the Cardinals have the hammer. But that's what happens. Balls are being hit so hard that catchers and pitchers are reluctant to throw anything close to the middle of the plate, even though you've got mustard on it.
Geico in-game box score for Texas. And after being shut down for the first 3 innings by Loesch, you see a lot of hits. Beltre has 3. Home runs by Young and Cruz. Napoli now with a sac fly. And the guy at the plate, Yorvit Torrealba, has a hit. Now dealing with Lance Lynn. Tying runs are on. Strike 1. Beltre and Murphy the runners. Outside. Ball 1. Top to bottom, this inning has lasted more than a half hour. Going on 34 minutes. Two on, 2 out. 1-2 the count. Pretty good swing by Torrealba. 94 from Lynn, still 1-2.
By the way, Nolan Ryan, who's made such an impression on this young pitching staff, threw 7 no-hitters, by far an all-time record. His last 7th when he was 44 years old.
Two and 2. Full count and the runners will go. That loads him up. And now the 9th man to bat in the inning, Ian Kinsler, will bat with the bases loaded, 2 out.
When things are going against your pitching staff, you try to encourage your pitchers to work faster, not slower. The reason they work slower is because they're fearful of the results. Think about it. Whatever you think about, put it into motion. Don't wait and wait and wait. Bad things can happen.
Kinsler, strike 1. He had knocked home 77 during the regular season. He has 9 this postseason. And flied into that double play last inning on the good throw by Matt Holliday to get Napoli at the plate. Bases loaded, 2 out. Good pitch in on the hand, strike 2.
That's a good fastball in on the hands. Kinsler did not want to swing at it. The guy rides in on the hands, crowding him, and he's in the hole.
That pitch overthrown high for ball 1. Ian Kinsler has never hit a grand slam. What a time this would be for his first. Lynn trying to end the threat right now. 2-2. The next from Lynn. Little fly ball out behind short. For Kyle is there, and the inning is over. 13 runs scored over the last 4 half innings. Rangers lead the bases loaded, trailed by 2 after 5 in game 3. As Ogando takes over, Alexi deals low to Ryan Theriot, 13-game winner and an all-star as a starter. The guy who's made 2 appearances in this World Series and given up 2 big pinch hit RBI singles for go-ahead runs to Alan Craig, who he will face 3rd in this 6th. 8-6 game. Theriot takes a strike. Ryan Theriot's had a nice night. He reached on an error, then had an RBI single. It's up, and he was at the plate when John Jay was out stealing in the 5th. Way upstairs, 3-1. Cardinals led 5-0, then 5-3, 8-3, now 8-6. Full count. A leadoff walk. And we'll go back to the top of the order in Rafael Furcal.
Joe, it's tough to play for 1 run because the hitters on both sides are scoring multiple runs during an inning and have the potential to continue that. But I think Tony La Russa will bunt right here because you've got Craig, Pujols, and Holiday following Rafael Furcal. And Ogando throws that high fastball, very difficult to bunt along with hit.
No sign of a bunt there. Ball 1.
Nope.
Now Torrealba goes out to talk.
Yeah, I mean, that's the tough thing to do. I mean, normally this would be a sacrifice situation, but because of the potential for both lineups, it's tough to play for just 1 run. It's almost like you have to manage an inning like you're playing for 3 or 4, a big inning.
Beltre still in at 3rd, a 1-0 pitch. Out in front of it is Furcal, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Good slider from Ogando.
Furcal hit 8 home runs, 7 of them in 50 games. He came from LA to St. Louis. Fouled back, strike 2. He homered once in the NLCS. That was in Milwaukee, but who didn't? Ground ball right side, base hit. Terrio will stop at second. It's 2 on, nobody out. And Furcal has his second hit of this World Series. And now here come the Cardinals with 2 aboard, and here comes Alan Craig to deal with Alexi Ogando. These two have hooked up for that little nugget. First player with 2 pinch hit singles for go-ahead RBIs in the same series.
Almost in the same spot. Games 1 and 2. David Freese on at third both times to score. Similar situation. Goodness.
Torrealba just went out to talk, and now Ogando brings him back out there.
Well, Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez meet for the 3rd time in November. Here's Ogando and Craig. October rematch.
And Craig then followed up what he did in St. Louis with a home run in his first at bat here tonight. Hitless since. And he finally sees the slider from Ogando, strike 1.
Ron Washington said, when Ogando comes in the game tonight, first pitch to Craig will be a slider. And it was.
That and high fastballs. Another slider, strike 2.
I don't think you're going to mess with a high fastball here. It's a tightly wrapped slider going away from Craig.
Laid off. Same pitch, ball 1. Be another good battle after Alan Craig with Ogando and Pujols. Two and 2. And again, Torrealba out to talk. There is nothing easy in these half innings now.
But you have to fight the temptation to think too much. The tougher things get, the more you have to speed things up.
Ogando gets him this time with 97-mile-per-hour heat, 1 out.
After 2 straight pinch hits, it's worth the sequence as the slider hits. Another slider. This one wide. Another one wide. Now the fastball. And that was Ron Washington's point. Once you've seen that slider a couple of times, then you can throw the fastball and get your man, and he did.
Here's Pujols. He's 2 for 3. And again, Torrealba has to go out and talk. Ogando brings him out. Pujols with 2 home runs this postseason. Those came in the NLCS. Got his first hits of this World Series in the 4th and 5th, and now he bats in the 6th. Does not have an RBI in this series yet. Anxious moment here at Rangers ballpark as Ogando deals with the bat of Albert Pujols. Good slider for a strike. 1-1.
You could see Pujols, that little whistle, he thought it was outside, and it was.
It's a big call, big difference between 2-0.
It really is.
And 1-1.
That's right.
In this situation. That is hammered into left.
Oh my gosh.
That ball is absolutely murdered.
Oh.
Crushed by Pujols. And that makes it 11-6 here in the 6th. His 3rd hit of the night, his 1st home run of this World Series. And this thing was blasted. This is how you turn around a 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
El hombre.
The only question was how far was that thing going to ride, and it almost got into the second deck.
Hit the facing of the second deck. You're not going to see too many balls hit any harder or farther than that. Staggering.
Now a ground ball into the hole, and Andrus drops it. That should be another error. And the defense has been poor for the Texas Rangers here in Game 3.
Tell you, I've got to admit, Joe, that there are some balls, as you see the error by Elvis Andrus, he had 25 during the season. There are some balls that are hit that just absolutely take your breath away. And that one hit by Pujols did exactly that.
Took the air out of this place. And
did.
Then what follows it up is an error by Elvis Andrus. Is I think these Rangers are a little bit stunned with what they saw fly out of this park with their weapon Ogando on the mound.
Who can blame them?
Berkman takes the ball low.
There aren't too many hitters in the game that can get around and make solid contact and square up a high fastball like that. Above the letters, most guys may make contact, they foul it back, they'll foul it off, but not this.
Here's a 1-0 to Berkman out in front of the pitch, a ball and a strike. Cardinal beat writers, in fact, it was their columnist Bernie Miklasz who said before the game, I can just imagine Pujols having a big night because he came in, didn't want to talk to the press. There was a mini controversy with the big hitters for Tony La Russa leaving after Game 2 without talking to the press. Pujols was frustrated. And the guys around this Cardinal team on a day-to-day basis thought he might be due for a breakout game, and he's got 3 straight hits and a 3-run home run. And that's his 16th career postseason home run, passing the great Babe Ruth again with more opportunities, with more rounds. But number 16 could have counted for 2 as the count's 2-2 on Lance Berkman. Berkman with a hit, a walk, he's flied to center. There goes Holiday on a grounder foul outside first. Ken Rosenthal is with us, and Ken, we've spent a lot of time during the regular season, during Cardinal games, talking about Pujols as the pending free agent. As the Cardinals have gone this deep now in the World Series here in 2011, does that help his chances of coming back to St. Louis, or does it affect it at all in your mind?
Joe, honestly, it probably doesn't make a difference. He'll give the Cardinals the first opportunity to re-sign him. He'll probably give them the last opportunity. But this is a business decision. And remember, back in spring training, He turned down a 9-year deal in the $190 to $200 million range. Now the Cardinals are going to have a 5-day window at the end of the World Series to negotiate with him exclusively, but that's not going to matter. He is going to hit the open market.
He almost hit the open market with that swing.
423 feet as Mike Gonzalez, a left-hander, gets loose for the Rangers in their pen. So Ogando, who was virtually untouchable in the ALCS, has been hit by the Cardinals in this World Series. That's outside a full count. And it keeps ballooning to a 5-run game, and then the Rangers come right back.
Yeah.
It happened in the 4th, happened in the 5th. And now the Cardinals have their 5-run lead back in the 6th. Base hit by Berkman. That pitch was up. Holiday will stop at second, 2 on, 1 out. And here's another look at that 423-footer off the bat of number 5.
That's some big-time star power right there with that swing.
And they've seen plenty of that. That guy in the middle of the picture is Adam Wainwright, the leader of this staff. Maybe 1-1A with Chris Carpenter, but they lost him before he made a spring training start. And hard to believe that the Cardinals, without somebody with his presence in a rotation, could make it as far as they have into this fall classic.
You lose Adam Wainwright in spring training. Tommy John surgery. He'll be back next year. And then Chris Carpenter is 1-7 in his first 8 decisions. So how did they do it? 10.5 back on August 25th. One of the great runs in the history of the game over the last 5 weeks of the season. And it's carried over in the postseason.
Wainwright, a 20-game winner last year, 19 the year before. Freese pops it up right side, and that will head out of play. Strike 1 on David Freese. Freese with 2 RBIs, a ground out, an RBI double, and a run scored. Pitch is inside, 1-1. Good fastball from Ogando, strike 2.
I think David Freese may have had a backswing and come around to hit Yorvit Torrealba. Let's see. Yeah, I believe he hit him on the back of the left hand. Yorvit appears to be all right. A lot of times the hitter will come up and he'll warn you, particularly if you're not familiar with him, that he has a backswing.
Here's a 1-2 from Ogando, 2 on, 1 out. And a big swing by Freese, got a piece. We asked you a trivia question about an hour and a half ago, 2 innings ago. And I read it. I can't even remember what the question was. If you know the answer, good for you.
I don't remember the question either.
The Volkswagen Passat trivia question. Who holds the record for the longest World Series hitting streak? Hank Bauer of the Yankees. 17 straight. Back in the 50s. Played a total of 9 World Series during the 40s and 50s, and the Yankees won 7 of them. Counts 2-2 on Freese.
That's Nick Punto, I believe, that Albert Pujols is leaning on. And if I'm Punto, I let him lean on me. Go ahead, Albert.
Gerald Laird in front of him as well. Now the 2-2 to Freese. Outside, a full count. Lead man is Holiday at second. The trail runner is Berkman, who has 2 hits tonight. On deck is Molina, who had a 2-run double his last time up. At the plate is David Freese with a full count. Here it is. There they go with 1 out, and they'll have to come back.
Tony La Russa taking advantage of the score when you're ahead by 5, trying to put a team away, putting the runners in motion.
I don't think a team in this park
is ever put away.
In this atmosphere with these bullpens.
No, not with this other lineup they're facing.
This will be the 146th pitch thrown since the start of the 4th. And Ogando wanted to see if Holiday was going to leave early.
Jose Oquendo called time, walked in fair territory, and the time was called so he could give the sign again.
Nobody was paying attention to him, so he ran onto the actual playing field. Crossed the white line to stop the action. He called for a technical. The 3-2. That'll load him up. And that might be it for Ogando. So Ron Washington went to his big weapon, Alexi Ogando, here in the 6th inning. He has walked 2, allowed 2 singles, and that mammoth home run hit by Albert Pujols, which has made it 11-6, and the bases are loaded, only 1 out. And Gonzalez, the left-hander, is coming in with Yadier Molina coming up. And Ogando is knocked around here tonight in the 6th. You were saying as we went to break?
The only man retired by Ogando was his nemesis, Alan Craig. What an inning.
What a game. These middle innings, 4, 5, and 6. Now Yadier Molina with the bases loaded, 1 out. Molina 1 for 2 with a 2-run double. Facing Michael Gonzalez. Fly ball into right. Holiday will tag and come to the plate. The throw is toward third, and Berkman is in with a face plant over at the third base bag, and it's 12-6 on a sac fly to right off the bat of Yadier Molina, and Berkman gets up smiling after getting a face full of dirt.
That elicits this reaction.
So Holiday, who reached on an error, scores, and it's 12-6. It's the biggest lead of the night. And here is John Jay. Cardinals have batted around for the 2nd time in this game. Number 9 man Terrio started this with a walk. Kinsler to his right, flips, and that's it. But the Cardinals come up with 4 runs in the 6th. Pujols was clapping, swinging. Ron Washington's jogging in place. Guys are celebrating. That kid's wired on cotton candy. We're going to the bottom of the 6th. Well, it's 12-6 in the bottom of the 6th inning. This one won't end 12-6. Elvis Andrus first up. Hamilton will follow, and then Michael Young. And that fastball floats inside for a ball to Elvis, who is 1 for 3. Andrus with a base hit to start the 3-run rally last inning. 91 miles per hour from Lance Lynn, who got out of a bases loaded situation last inning by getting Kinsler on a pop-up. to keep the lead, and now the Cardinals have added 4 and lead by 6. Slider misses, ball 2. Here's a 2-1 from Lynn. Hard hit the other way and past Theriot. And now the Rangers put their leadoff man on here in the 6th. And we give you the Nikon 1 replay cam, a big play in this game at the time, to cut down Mike Napoli at the plate in the 4th and keep it 5-3 St. Louis as Holiday made the throw. Napoli was tagged out. Here's Josh Hamilton.
It would be a mistake for a viewer to leave your set.
Strike 1 from Lynn. Cardinals have a right-hander getting loose in their bullpen, Dotel. They have a long man in Jake Westbrook, Dotel, Boggs, Motte the closer, Rhodes and Zepchinski the left-handers. Might be 2. It is. Turn 4, 6-3. And Hamilton bounces into it, started by Theriot for Kahl in the middle. And the bases are empty, 2 out for Michael Young. Young has homered, an RBI double. He scored twice. And he hit a seed over to third his last time up that almost flipped David Freese and went into left field for an RBI double. Breaking ball drops in, strike 1. That one misses down. 1-1.
Notice more breaking balls from Lance Lynn starting an inning. It's very difficult for a pitcher to come in with runners on base and pitch like he normally would. A lot more breaking balls this inning.
That's out of play. Strike 2. With the bases empty, 2 down, Michael Young is in the hole, 1-2. Lance Lynn was called up as a starter. And then he fell right into a bullpen situation and was pitching well until he strained an oblique. The 1-2. Young stays up there.
Yeah, Lance, we talked about it the other night. He missed the last 46 games of the season. Really took a lot of courage from Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa to put him on the postseason roster.
They had another guy they were thinking about in Eduardo Sanchez, who was good in the bullpen, but they almost activated. Here's a 1-2. Fastball gets Michael Young and sends us into the 7th. What a game. Action all over the place in game 3. 12-6 Cardinals. Back after this from your local Fox station. 12-6 game as we go into the 7th inning. I'm Joe. That's Tim. How are you holding up, my friend?
I'm fine. You kidding? This is great. But it's such an unusual game.
It is.
We saw 8 runs scored in St. Louis, and a few more scored. 18 runs scored tonight in 6 innings.
And this was a 1-0 game after 3, and then just an offensive explosion. 17 runs scored from the 4th through the 6th. And now we're in the 7th. Gonzalez will deal with Theriot, and it was Ryan Theriot drawing a walk off Ogando that started a 4-run rally in the 6th. And a fly ball into right will send Nelson Cruz back a few in front of the track, 1 out. And our Sherlock Holmes 2 game summary. It has been action central, and it started with the second batter, Alan Craig, a home run. Then Michael Young went deep to right. Nelson Cruz went deep to right. They were smiling, and then this. A rocket off the bat of Albert Pujols to make it 11-6. Now it's 12-6. And after 8 runs total through the first 2 games, 18 runs here tonight in game 3. Here is Furcal. Tim, I think we're going to see the same game tomorrow night.
Oh, I do too. I think all 3 games here in Arlington are going to be like this. Maybe not 18 runs scored in the first 6 innings, but you get the drift.
Tomorrow night it's Edwin Jackson at Derek Holland. As the count goes to 2-1 on Furcal, and we said it coming in that this series would change in this ballpark. You're at the 3rd and 4th starters. You have to wait until game 5 to get back to the top guys, Chris Carpenter and C.J. Wilson. Nelson Cruz went back for the first, in for the second. 2 out.
Meanwhile, you look at a guy like Michael Gonzalez, and as you look at Edwin Jackson, Derek Holland, as Joe said, the starters tomorrow night. But Michael Gonzalez was obtained by the Rangers on August 31st, and it was thought that he'd be pitching against either the New York Yankees or the Boston Red Sox to win the LCS for Texas. They haven't even played them because of the demise of the Red Sox and the collapse, and the Yankees were beaten by the Tigers.
Yeah, they were adding to their left-handed short relief because of the left-handed bats that those teams feature.
Guys like Adrian Gonzalez and Jacoby Ellsbury,
Robinson Cano, Curtis Granderson. 1 ball, 1 strike on Alan Craig, who after his first inning home run has had a 1-for-4 night, pair of strikeouts and a groundout. But you saw those ERAs during this postseason for the 2 starters tomorrow. Holland has been ineffective. He believes he had a good bullpen session and felt better, wasn't too amped up as he gets the ball here tomorrow night, and that has been a problem for him, getting wild and getting pitches up in his 2 postseason starts. And Edwin Jackson had that big lead after a half inning in game 6, the clincher of the NLCS. And what did he go, 2 innings in that game?
Yeah, in that game he faced 8 batters and gave up 3 home runs.
Here's a 2-1 to Alan Craig. 3-1 with Pujols on deck. Temperatures dropped a bit. The wind is still whipping through Rangers ballpark. And there is some weather in the area as ball 4 is inside. It's supposed to rain, they say, in about 45 minutes.
It's tough to read a crowd, but you get the sense and the feeling from this crowd of enormous respect after seeing Pujols and what he did his last time up. Ranger fans have heard about him. The nation's heard about him. The Cardinal fans know him.
Here's one into left center field. Back at the track. He's got another. And more respect.
Unbelievable.
As he's hit a 3-run shot, now a 2-run shot. And the Cardinals lead it 14-6 in the 7th. Four for his last 4 at bats. 5 RBIs, 3 runs scored. And Albert Pujols, after being hitless through the first 2 games, is heating up. Well, he's hot. He's not heating up. He's He's over that hump.
He's been hot for 11 years.
As Matt Holliday with 2 out, nobody on, takes a strike. Cardinals had guys in and out of their lineup all season long and never really got on the kind of roll that they've been on down the stretch in September and certainly in this postseason. Here's a 1-1. Holliday gets under it, and that should end the top of the 7th. Elvis puts it away. But in the inning, Albert Pujols, after a 423-foot home run in the 6th, it's a 406-foot home run here in the 7th. And it just sounds different coming off his bat.
It does.
And the reaction from Octavio Dotel and the bullpen as the Cardinals are all smiles here in Game 3. We get ready, as does Adrian Beltre, to start the bottom of the 7th inning. It's 14-6. Albert Pujols has hit 2 home runs. The Cardinals have hit 3. Rangers have hit 2. Beltre's had a nice night, 3 for 3. Lance Lynn is back for more. Find some guy that can get outs. You don't want to take him out. Strike 1 to Beltre. Mark Lowe again, the right-hander, as the Cardinals lead by 8 here in the 7th. Ball 1. Beltre singled in the 2nd, singled and scored in the 4th, drove home a run with a hit in the 5th. Lance Lynn trying to turn in 3 big innings. What turned into a wild slugfest here in the 4th, 5th, and 6th.
You know, the biggest pitch made, I know there have been 20 runs scored. Why talk about pitches made? The biggest pitch that I remember was that inside fastball to Ian Kinsler with the bases loaded to crowd a Texas hitter.
Here's one into center, sending Jay back on the run. It's off the wall. And Beltre will make it into 2nd with a leadoff double.
High fastball, and Beltre showing his muscle to center field.
So a 4-hit night for Adrian Beltre, and that's his first extra base hit. Here comes Dave Duncan. Nelson Cruz coming up.
Joe, it's 14-6. You want to get John Lynch in here to finish up this game?
He is getting ready for tomorrow and the late game.
Oh, man.
Across or down the street here in Arlington with the Cowboys and the Rams. Dotel again. And we've already talked about it, but it's worth repeating. Big day on Fox. Doubleheader NFL action there. The matchups early, including the Falcons and Lions, which has turned into a good game. And America's Game of the Week. Tom Brenneman, Troy Aikman, Pam Oliver, the Packers at the Vikings, or the Rams and the Cowboys. Steven Jackson had a nice day at Green Bay last week, and Tony Romo have had those 2 300-plus yard games, but Cowboys have lost their last 2. And that's at Cowboys Stadium, and Lance Berkman and Josh Hamilton are scheduled to be there for the coin toss as the ceremonial captains for each team.
Got to be pretty exciting for Lance and Josh, I would think.
Just to get in that stadium is exciting.
Yeah.
Here's a 1-0. Outside, 2-0 from Lynn. And A.J. Pierzynski is taking advantage of his new connections at Fox, and he'll be at the game.
Ha. No coin toss, however.
Here's one in the air to left center. Cruz got under it. The catch is made. Tagging, getting to third is Beltre. Something came out of the stands out in left center field.
Looked like a rubber ball or a tennis ball.
Tony La Russa is going to go out and talk to the umpire.
I think he's got a good point. It's fan interference. How in the world can somebody do that? A child.
Beltre tagged and went to third, and La Russa's talking to Alfonso Marquez.
I think what Tony is pointing out is that a ball like that thrown to your left peripherally can upset the cadence of throwing the ball to third base. It's a point. I don't think he's going to win it, but we hope that person is ejected.
Well, one guy who's leaving is Lance Lynn. Runner at third, one out, and Lynn, who has gone 2 1/3, and given the Cardinals big outs here in game 3, will give way to Octavio Dotel. It's a 14-6 game in the 7th, and Dotel will be the Cardinals' 4th pitcher of the night. The kid that threw the ball in the direction of Matt Holliday is being ejected. There he is, right over the E in Geico. And so he is being, that's a live shot of him being ejected and going up the walkway with whoever he's here with tonight. And so the moral of that story is, if you try to interfere with a game, make sure there aren't high definition cameras all over a ballpark, because you will be found out and you will
be ejected. Steve Horn, our information advisor and director, telling us that unless a fan actually touches a ball, it can't be fan interference.
Runner at third with one out for Napoli, and he looks at a strike from Dotel. Napoli with a sac fly as a single. He's 1 for 2. Trying to get the Rangers a little bit closer here in the 7th. One and one. David Murphy on deck. Leadoff double by Beltre. Cruz with the fly ball into left, and now the 1-1 to Napoli. 2-1. These are two teams meeting in the World Series who had their bullpens really added to by their general managers in the month of July. In the case of the Rangers, also in August with Gonzalez. But Dotel came to the Cardinals, and he's been used a lot as he fires a fastball for strike 2. Mark Lowe is still getting loose, and presumably he'll be in the 8th. And that foul tip caught the mask of Molina. Octavio Dotel's been at it for a long time. This is his 12th team, his first World Series. He was a big weapon for the Cardinals in the NLCS against Ryan Braun. Big number 3 hitter for the Brewers. Late on that swing is Napoli, and it's still 2-2.
Lifetime Ryan Braun has struck out 10 times against Octavio Dotel. I think it's like 18 at bats. But there are not too many guys who can get Ryan Braun that successfully. But Dotel's one of them. What a player Ryan Braun has turned out to be.
Here's a 2-2. Full count.
Talked about Albert Pujols declaring free agency. Well, Prince Fielder also. And it's going to be interesting to see where the two massive run producers end up.
Two guys in the NL Central. Here's a 3-2. That's into left. Holiday drifts back to make the catch. Tagging and scoring is Beltre, and it's 14-7. Second sac fly tonight by Napoli. And like a football score you might see tomorrow on Fox NFL Sunday, it's 14-7. Major League Baseball is proud to support Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Visit bgca.org to see where great futures start. And now David Murphy with the bases empty, 2 out. Fouls it away. So for Lance Lynn, 2 1/3, 1 run, 3 hits. Couple of walks, couple of strikeouts, and he did a nice job. Line drive ends the inning, caught by Pujols off the bat of Murphy. Sends us into the 8th. It's game 3 of the World Series, and the Cardinals lead by 7. First postseason appearance for Mark Lowe. There's what he did during the regular season, 52 games, a record of 2-3, good ERA. And he'll try to keep it a 7-run game as the Cardinals have become the first team in World Series history with 4 consecutive multi-run innings. 4 in the 4th, 3 in the 5th, 4 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th. And here's Berkman, who's been a part of all that. Single in the 4th, walked and scored in the 5th, single in the 6th. The wind has really picked up. Ball 1. Storm is coming as we play here in the 8th. One ball, one strike. David Freese on deck, and then Yadier Molina for this Cardinal club that is proving that they can slug with the Texas Rangers. Tigers could not. Tampa Bay Rays could not. It makes it 2-1. Tonight the bullpen has been roughed up. And Ogando in just a 1/3 of an inning. 4 runs on 3 hits. 2-2.
To echo once again, the Ranger bullpen 4-0 in the ALCS. Only the 2nd time in 154 best 4 out of 7 series where the bullpen won all the games. Other time it was done was 1997 when Cleveland did it against Baltimore.
The 2-2 fouled away. And then Cleveland went on to the World Series and lost to the Florida Marlins, and Jim Leyland's team, Edgar Renteria, with the game-winning hit in Game 7. Lowe gets the sign from Torrealba, and here comes a 2-2. But Berkman trying to reach for the 4th straight time, and he pops it foul back here. Cardinals came in hitting .203 as a team through 2 games of this World Series, but scored 14 runs on 12 hits, popped 3 home runs. That's ball 3. Mark McGwire in his second season as hitting coach and his return to the game. Good pitch that dropped down and away from low to get Berkman to start the 8th.
It looked like a splitter or changeup. Oh, really going down to get Lance Berkman. That was a split finger fastball from Mark Lowe. Good pitch.
That'll bring in David Freese.
The Cardinals have a left-handed hitting instructor in Mike Aldretti and a right-handed hitting instructor, Mark McGwire. I have said for years, and it's been my philosophy for years, that every team should have a left-handed and a right-handed hitting instructor, because I think left-handed hitters are different enough that they need someone who understands their swing. And this has nothing to do with Mark McGwire.
Freese has got another hit. His second of the night to go with a walk. He's on for the 3rd time.
I think left-handed swings in baseball are so much more different than right-handed swings that it should require a right-hander to understand a right-handed swing and a left-hander with a left-handed swing.
Here's Descalso coming in to run. That said by a former left-handed hitting big leaguer.
Well, for instance, as an example, nobody can drive the ball. No left-handed hitter, or few left-handed hitters, can drive the ball to left center like a right-handed hitter can drive the ball to right center. A guy like Albert Pujols. We talked about 8 guys on the Rangers and the Cardinals who have power the other way. We don't talk about left-handed hitters who have power to left.
Strike 1 to Molina.
We asked Tony La Russa, hearing a rumor that Bob Melvin, the manager of the Oakland Athletics, was thinking about hiring his old buddy Mike Aldretti, and Tony said, I hope so. Give him a shot at a full-time job. Not that his job now is not full-time, he's just sharing it with Mark McGwire, who's the main guy.
Counts 0-2 on Molina. So the Cardinals' single-game postseason record with their 14 runs tonight. And the starters, the combination of Matt Harrison and Kyle Loesch, are long gone. Harrison went 3 2/3. Loesch went into the 4th, didn't get an out. Ball 1. John Jay has not been in on the fun. He's 0 for 4 and waiting on deck. Here is a 1-2. Into left center field. That is down and will go all the way to the wall. Descalso will score from first, and it's another RBI double for Molina. And it's 15-7 here in the 8th.
4th RBI of the night for Yadier Molina, whose brothers Benji and Jose were in St. Louis. We talked about it, the only 3 brothers to win World Series rings, and Yadier is trying to win his 2nd.
Pitch was up from low, and Descalso, who took over as a pinch runner, scored easily. Now John Jay takes ball 1. You know, watching McGwire, I got a chance to be around this team, the Cardinals, when McGwire was playing and setting the home run record back in 1998 when he passed Maris. He won a title with the A's back in '89 with Tony La Russa. I think in some ways, if the Cardinals were to win this World Series, he will get as much, maybe more in some ways, out of it, because he has taken to coaching. It hasn't surprised La Russa, but it might have surprised Mark a little bit, because he loves being around these young hitters and sharing what he learned as a hitter.
And didn't think he would initially, right?
I don't think he knew. I don't think he knew what the reception would be getting back around the game of baseball after the record-setting season, and then leaving with a bad knee, and the steroid story, which he admitted to steroid use. In an interview with Bob Costas prior to him coming back to the game, as Jay grounds out to first, 2 out. But now people have left him alone, and that stuff is seemingly behind him, except every year when he fails to get enough votes to be a Hall of Fame player. After his career, Ken Rosenthal is with us, and what are the reports you get regarding McGuire as a hitting coach?
Well, Joe, they're only good, and I am very close to him down near their dugout, and I can tell you he is into every pitch, even now with an 8-run lead. And I know you can say, well, all hitting coaches are, but there is an intensity about him that is pretty rare.
Kenny, you vote. Do you think McGuire will ever be a Hall of Famer?
I don't know. And I would say no, but time does heal a lot of wounds. And at some point, the writers, including myself, are going to have to come to terms with that era. And whether we keep an entire generation of players out or whether we start to let some of them in. Right now, it doesn't look good for him. His percentages have been around 25%. But again, he has 15 years total on the ballot. It's not over yet.
Yeah, and I like what you say there, because it really is an era, and it's impossible to stand back and pick and choose who you think did or didn't do steroids.
Which ones? That's right.
It's impossible to know. You know, the obvious looking guys, but I mean, you don't know the true full story. Pitch is up and away, 1 ball, 2 strikes. As Darren Oliver gets loose. Lowe trying to get through this 8th. He's allowed to run on 2 hits. Two and 2. In the bottom of the 8th, the Rangers will have Torrealba, Kinsler, and Andrus. Look ahead to a big day of sports tomorrow, starting with the Built Ford Tough Fox NFL Sunday pregame show. Noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and then put the remote away. Here's a 2-2. Fly ball into left. Murphy over to grab it, and the inning is over. Cardinals get a run on 2 hits and lead by 8. As we move to the bottom of the 8th in Game 3. Descalso ran for David Freese. Now he's at third. Dotel back to the mound with Torrealba, Kinsler, and Andrus coming up. Your Veet is 1 for 2. He's walked, singled, and struck out. Strike 1 from Dotel, who came on to get the final 2 outs in the 7th. Loesch, then Salas. Salas was not effective. Lance Lynn did a nice job, and now Dotel has the bottom fall out of that pitch. Strike 2.
Good changeup from Octavio Dotel. I think what Lance Lynn did, he restored some order and gave the Cardinals a chance to continue to tack on. And they have scored 15 runs. That outburst in the middle innings.
Pretty good pitch, called ball 1. Here's a 1-2 from Dotel. To the right side and through the right side. And the Rangers put their leadoff man on here in the 8th. In our Nikon 1 replay, the night for Albert Pujols and that massive home run, and then 1 hit to left center. 5 RBIs on 2 swings and well over 800 feet worth of home runs here in Game 3.
Albert Pujols becoming the first player in World Series history with 4 consecutive innings in which he had a hit. 2 home runs and 2 singles and 5 RBIs in 4 innings. Just to have that opportunity to hit in 4 straight innings.
Kinsler is hitless tonight. And now in the hole 0-2.
Ian thought that pitch was outside, and he had a point.
Edwin Jackson, Derek Holland tomorrow night in Game 4. The 0-2. Ball 1. Despite the lopsided score, Alfonso Marquez is still stingy with strikes. The 1-2. 2-2. And that's what the good umpires will do, is keep it consistent no matter what the scoreboard says. Torrealba and Pujols talking it over on a 2-2 pitch. In the hole for Cowell, gets the out at second. Well played. Feeds Terrio, covering 1 away.
Rafael Furcal has had some injuries this year. He missed 63 games for the Dodgers with a broken left wrist. The one thing that is not injured on the body of Rafael Furcal is that right arm. He still has that cannon hanging from his right shoulder.
And here is Elvis Andrus. Strike 1. Elvis with 2 hits, 1 run scored. That ball is backing out of play. Strike 2.
Elvis putting us to the test last year, asking us before Game 1 of the World Series if we could find out if he was the first Elvis to ever play in the World Series. He is still the only Elvis to ever perform in a World Series. He is a delightful young man from Venezuela.
Here's the 0-2. Dotel fooled him, 2 out. And with the runner at first, it'll be Josh Hamilton.
If Josh makes an out, you may see Ron Washington taking him out of the game in an 8-run ball game.
We'll find out.
Yep.
As Furcal goes to the bag, hey, stick around. Albert Pujols due up 3rd in the 9th inning. He can try and tie history. Last guy to go deep 3 times in a game got a nickname out of it. Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. Pujols coming up. Cardinals lead by 8. Craig Gentry takes over in center, so Hamilton will rest up for tomorrow. That's foul. Strike 2 from Darren Oliver, the new pitcher, and now the only man left in the bullpen for the Rangers is their closer, Feliz. Cardinals have action in their bullpen. Strike 3 over the outside corner from the former Cardinal as Mitchell Boggs gets loose. Oliver gets the first man, and Pujols is due up after Craig. You go back to 1977. Yankees, Dodgers, and Mr. October getting that one off Charlie Huff. 3 in the game. And Albert Pujols will be up next, trying to tie that. Alan Craig walked in front of Pujols' last home run. The 0-1. Nice play by Beltre, sliding to his right. Boy, he's good. 2 down, and here comes Pujols. Darren Oliver and Albert Pujols, who has 4 straight hits, takes ball 1 low. That one fouled at the plate, a ball and a strike. 15-7 game here in game 3. The Rangers will have Young, Beltre, and Cruz in the bottom half of the 9th. Here's a 1-1. Ball 2. When we left Tony La Russa's office with our pregame chat, as we do with each manager, he said, well, hope we play the bottom of the 9th. On the road, the Cardinals hoping that that would be the case, and there will be a bottom of the 9th as the count goes to 2-2. Popped up right side, foul ball, and it will get just out of the reach of Napoli and off that guy's elbow. Pujols grounded out his first time, then singled in the 4th, led off that 4-run rally with a base hit, did the same in the 5th, the 3-run rally, and then hit a 3-run home run in the 6th and a 2-run shot in the 7th. No Rangers fan is thinking I had to watch Pujols have 4 hits, 2 home runs. Then he hits me, and here goes one into left. How about 3 on the night in a row? A 3-run shot, a 2-run home run, and now a solo blast. And Albert Pujols has tied Reggie Jackson with 3 home runs against the Rangers in game 3. Wow.
That's a wow. Giving him the silent treatment. That's the El Hombre silent treatment.
Now Holiday takes a ball down and in.
Frightening.
You can see the look on Oliver's face. He just became Charlie Huff, giving up the 3rd home run in a World Series game. And Pujols has made it 16-7. That foul tip got a lot of Torrealba. So Ruth did it twice. Reggie Jackson and now Albert Pujols. There is no video of Babe Ruth from the 20s.
You know, as much as how it's affected this game, Joe, how's it going to affect tomorrow and beyond in the World Series? And not only how they pitch him, but will they walk him? I mean, we saw Ron Washington walk Miguel Cabrera of the Detroit Tigers with 1 out and nobody on in a tie game in the 8th inning. That was game 4 in Detroit.
That ends the inning. An inning that featured the 3rd home run of the night by Albert Pujols. Just under 400 feet, 397. Into left center field. He's gone deep, a 3-run shot, a 2-run shot, a solo blast, putting on a show in Game 3 as the Cardinals are on the verge of going up 2-1 in the 107th World Series. So a history-tying night for Albert Pujols, and joining a list that includes 2 others, Babe Ruth and Reggie Jackson, with a 3-homer game. And made it 16-7 as Mitchell Boggs takes over. There are his numbers this postseason. For a short while, kind of took over the closer's role, and then not too long after that, he was back in the minor leagues. Michael Young first up, in 95-mile-per-hour heat from Boggs, who has a 9-run cushion, strike 1. Breaking balls popped up into shallow center. And there is John Jay, 1 out.
Joe, because of the number of games that are played, baseball players are trained to forget about blowouts. And this is a big league blowout. The problem with this, I think, is, how are the Rangers pitchers going to react now that Pujols has just shown this monumental display of power, and what effect it's going to have on the pitching staff?
Here is a shattered bat. Somehow Descalso maintains his concentration, 2 out.
And Ron Washington and Mike Maddox for the rest of the series. If this were a regular season game, you'd say the guy's the greatest player in the world and the whole bit. And now it's up to Derek Holland, who is starting tomorrow, standing next to Colby Lewis, who pitched so well in St. Louis. But what effect will Pujols have in the rest of this series?
Well, he's been hanging over that railing watching Albert Pujols just tee off.
I mean, it's hard not to not only respect his power, but a lot of other things.
Fastball strike to Nelson Cruz.
I mean, the Texas Rangers have seen a lot of their players. Saw Nelson Cruz have that tremendous American League Championship Series. But I would imagine it's been a long time since their pitchers have seen a display this awesome by an opposing hitter.
1 strike away are the Cardinals from a 2-1 lead in this World Series. Taking Game 3 here in Arlington. And that will do it. Nelson Cruz is out, and the Cardinals win it 16-7. 16 runs on 15 hits. And for Texas, 7 runs on 13. And they committed 3 errors on the night. And this was an incredible power display put on by that guy, number 5, Albert Pujols. And they were packed in here tonight. 4-hour, 4-minute game. And guess who gets the nod as the guy who brings you the Audi plays of the game? That one just mammoth. Off Ogando, then Michael Gonzalez, and then Darren Oliver. The Audi A8. True greatness should never go unrecognized. And for a moment, his teammates unrecognized him in the dugout and then let him have it after the silent treatment. What a night, and the Cardinals win it 16-7. And we go down to Ken Rosenthal. Ken?
Thanks, Joe. Albert, you, Babe Ruth, and Reggie Jackson are the only players in history to hit 3 home runs in a World Series game. The Babe did it twice. What do you think when you hear those names?
You know what? It's an honor, you know, to be named in the same category of those guys. But I just thank God that I was able to come out today and help our ball club to win, you know, and hopefully I can do that tomorrow again.
You were 0 for 6 coming into this game. You were at 5 hits tonight. Did you come in with a special purpose today?
You know what? I don't look at the 0 for 6. I look at how quality our bat was having. I just hit in the ball hard and I don't get any hits, but all it takes is one good game, and now I got 5 hits, so what are they going to say about it?
You've hit a lot of big home runs. You've hit a lot of long home runs. Where do you rank the one off Ogando?
You know why? It doesn't matter how far you go. At that time, we needed a score, and I just wanted to look for a good pitch to hit. He's a great pitcher, and he leave the ball up, and I was putting my best swing of the night. And I'm just glad, you know, we got back on the board after they scored a couple of runs. After they scored 3 runs in that inning.
A lot of runs tonight. Was it the weather? Was it the ballpark? The pitching? The hitting? What happened?
You know what? You have 2 offensive ball club. You know, I mean, that's all the talking work coming into the series, and. You know, I mean, obviously, both of the pitchers were good, but, you know, if you leave the ball up in this park, I mean, it's going to carry a little bit more than what it's carrying in St. Louis. So, you know what, there's so many guys that contribute tonight. Jari has some huge night. Freeze, Alan is starting again. Mike got some huge shit. I mean, this is a team win, and we did a great job, and we just need to come up tomorrow and do the same.
Hey, best night of your career?
You know what, I'll let you know after we win it, hopefully. So right now, you know, I just glad, you know, that we just won a game, you know, after a tough one in St. Louis.
Thank you, Albert. Right. Joe, back to you.
All right, Game 3 of the 2011 World Series will be remembered for 1 man and 3 swings. A 3-run shot in the 6th, a 2-run shot in the 7th, a solo shot in the 9th. And the Cardinals win Game 3 16-7.
We had all these great breakdown tapes to show you here in our first segment of MLB Tonight, but the story became Albert Pujols, and we had to spend time talking about a historic moment. Larry, you've been in this game for a long time, and despite the fact you're only 38 years old, and to see what you saw tonight, I mean, it's one of the greats.
It's the greatest, one of the greatest things I've ever seen. You know what it reminded me of? You know when you watch the Little League World Series, and there's one guy that's bigger than everybody, and every time up he's hitting home runs. And no disrespect to the Rangers, this is the level that this guy's at right now. He looked like he was playing with a bunch of young kids that had no idea how to get him out, and he was just crushing balls. And again, no disrespect to anybody, he's making baseball look real easy, and we all know it's very difficult to hit a baseball, square it up. But what he did tonight is unbelievable.
What a performance, that's all you can say. He hit a ball 97 up and in. Here he takes a good fastball from Mike Gonzalez, 93 miles an hour. Deposit that in the seats in left center field. Locked in is probably an understatement, but when you see Albert Pujols taking pitches that are borderline, then Darren Oliver, this probably looked like a 40-mile-an-hour fastball hitting 97 and 93. Darren Oliver, 89-mile-an-hour fastball, center cut. There isn't much right now that the King, if he's going to put a swing on it, he's going to pretty much center it. He's locked in.
He's adding a night like this to a postseason resume that is sparkling. He's hitting over 340 in the postseason. That's 70 games with 18 home runs and 52 RBIs. He's hitting 343. And Albert Pujols, if all you guys out there that love stats, right, and you want to compare 2009 to 2010 to 2011 as regular season numbers, you're like, he must be on the decline. A 31-year-old, he's declining based on his stats. Well, Albert tonight, we can say this, it's the World Series, had the greatest game of his 11-year career. How can a guy on the decline, who's been nothing but Hall of Fame good in his first 10, have the greatest game of his career and it be in the World Series?
All right, I'm going to say it for the 6th time, and you can get on me. 1926, Babe Ruth hit 3 home runs. 51 years it took for that to happen again. Reggie Jackson in 1977. 34 more years from Reggie to King Albert tonight for the St. Louis Cardinals. It's that incredible what he did in one game. Unbelievable.
I want to watch tomorrow night. He might be able to top this again. This is unbelievable how locked in he is. I'm telling you, I told you before, I don't care if the bases are loaded. Put him on.
Four.
Put him on.
Larry, we were watching that inning. Mike Napoli jumps to make the tag. Sure, it's a blown call, but there was a certain infielder that you thought helped create that mess.
Well, without a doubt. I mean, Ian Kinsler, we all know, is an outstanding second baseman. He got a little bit complacent, got a little lazy with his feet. I mean, we're going to look at this breakdown here, and there wasn't even anybody close to him to break up this play. This is a routine double play ball. Well, we're starting the first one on the backhand. Now, I'm going to tell you what he did wrong on that play, Greg. When you see his arm that close to his body, his head should be down. His head is up. He's looking out. See where his eyes are? The ball's there. He got his arm way too close to his body, and they were lucky there because the next pitch, they turned into a double play. Now, here's the double play ball that you should make in your sleep. This was during the playoffs against Detroit Tigers, and that was as routine as you can get, and you saw him turn that. Now, tonight, almost the same identical play. Pujols isn't bearing down. He opens up his hip too soon, drops his arm, and that's what happens. He gets underneath the ball. And let me tell you something. There was nobody in his way. There was nobody in his way there to break up that double play. And you can see the base there and how open that shoulder was. And when you get underneath the ball like that, Greg, the ball has nothing to do but sail on him. Now, he came in here like this. He took the ball like this. And on the play that he did bad, this leg came here, and he threw like this. On the play that he did good against the Tigers, he went like this, good base, threw to first. Everything was compact. And the one in Detroit, there was a runner bearing down on him. And this one tonight, Albert literally peeled off. All he had to do was come here, boom, like that. He went like this, and that's the difference between a chest-high throw and a throw into the runner.
And what kind of difference does a play like this make for a young pitcher like Matt Harris?
Listen, other than the second hitter of the game, Alan Craig taking him deep, he was throwing the ball terrific. When you're getting to the 3, 4, 5 part of the order, and you feel you've just induced a 6-4-3 double play from the number 4 hole hitter and Matt Holliday, you're thinking, wow, you know what? You're going to have 2 outs. Your pitching attack, your plan of attack is different with Lance Berkman. Now all of a sudden you have a couple of runners on base, and it really changed the complexion of that inning. One, it slows down the pitcher's momentum. You feel good about turning what you believe is a 6-4-3 double play. You kind of get that third hitter of the inning. Let's get this thing going, and it snowballed.
It was a huge play on Saturday night.